Hi everyone, you probably didn't expect to see the Peerless Watercolours on my desk today. So basically I bought these watercolours about a year ago, or almost a year ago, I think last summer, and I had them sitting on my desk waiting for the day when I will have the patience to cut them up and put them into these sort of palettes. I will show you what they look like. So volume 1 is basically this Peerless watercolor complete edition, and I will show you in a bit what it looks like. And the volume 2 is the bonus pack, which comes in a lot smaller sheets. So I'll just give you a quick flip through. Mind you, these are super messy to work with if you want to put them into portable palettes, which I have made. So this way I can now take them into my traveler's notebook with me. So I made them in the B6 size, like that. So they're probably a little bit bigger than the actual B6. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, just a tiny little bit bigger. I hope you can see. So taller, but actually narrower. So, but they fit in perfectly anyway. So that's how it would look. So it fits in perfectly, and I would just insert them and have them as these palettes. Now let's have a peek inside. I'm not doing a demo today. I just want to introduce you to Peerless Watercolours in case you don't know about them, or just give you a little kind of idea of how to create these palettes. And I will be doing swatches today. So here is what the palette looks like. Basically I just have taken an A4 sized, or roughly A4 sized watercolor paper, and this is and then just bend it in half, and then I had to cut out the squares from the booklet, which I will show you in a second. Then I have taken acetate, which I bought a block of it. I'll try to put it I bought mine on Amazon, so I'll try to link it down below in the description. And then I just use some washi to stick it in. So basically that's what it looks like. There are 15 colors in the complete edition, and so it's a little bit of a strange number, but it works perfectly if you go for this type of a size. And then I'm going to swatch them here on the other side. So, and the reason I need acetate is because once you start wetting these, they will stick to the page that will be on top, so I can protect it like that and keep it nice and clean. Now, when I said to you working with them is a mess, is the reason why it took me so long to get this done. So basically what it is, I'll try to do it really carefully because I don't want my mat to get stained. So this is what I worked on yesterday. So this mat is by Rangers, and it's fantastic for protecting your desks. So I'm just going to pull it out again. So basically you have to work really carefully to not create any stains. So these are super staining and super intense watercolors that come in a sheet. So first of all, let me tell you that they were first published in 1902, so they're very, very old. And although they're a little bit of a pain to work with, that's my personal opinion, I wanted to have them because I just feel that it's you know, it's neat to be part of that watercolor history in a way. So basically the way they're created is that there is a sheet of paper, or it's called film, and it is tinted on one side to give you the idea of the color, and then the pigment or the dye is actually on top of the film, and so then you can clip them. So what I have done was basically I measured a size which is 1/4, so half and half of these mini sizes, and I put them inside because I thought that I might do the same sizes for these bonus pack, but actually I ended up going for a smaller one because otherwise they wouldn't have fit in this size of a insert. So you then have this information on the reverse side where it's, or the facing page, where it tells you what it is used for, etc, etc. In the beginning there is quite a little bit to read if you want. It's printed in the still the original English printing, and then it actually tells you that you need to work really quickly with these watercolors because otherwise you won't get a good result. So I think that there might be quite a staining and more of a dye of a watercolor rather than the typical watercolor that we know. So it'll be interesting to see how they work. Now, so there are 15 colors. What I find a little bit unpractical is that none of the sheets or the colors are actually numbered, so you have no idea how many colors there are unless you go through the effort, flip everything through and sort of try and number them. So that's what I have done here, so that I keep a track of all the colors, and they're quite interesting. So I just wanted to show you a couple which I thought were, so they look different. Every single one looks a little bit different. There are a couple that are very interesting. So they're apparently handmade, and that's how they originally were made, and that's how they are still made today. So the company wanted to preserve the technique of doing that. So that's that. Have a look at this one. No, is it this one or is it the next one? There was a color that was called mauve. That was quite interesting. Might be a bit later on. Oh, it might have been the one of the small ones. Anyway, the sky blue is a very interesting color because it has that sort of violet kind of gloss to it. And so is deep blue as well. Almost looks like bronze. Very beautiful. But that's the color it's supposed to be, or thereabouts. So that is for the complete edition. 15 colors felt for me like a very limited color choice, so that's why I then went ahead and I purchased the bonus pack. So basically, again, same thing, doesn't tell you the number on the pack. I think when you buy it, I bought mine on, I think, Blitsy. I'll have a look if they have them on Amazon because sometimes things pop up. So yeah, so basically, no, I think I bought this one on Blitsy and this might have been on Amazon, one of the two. So that when you're buying it from a company, it obviously tells you how many watercolors there are in the info. However, on the packaging, same thing, nothing at all, and it's actually 40 colors, so you have to count down, and it's 20 colors one side, 20 colors the other side. And there's a little leaflet here that tells you that the swatches are in the exact order that the according to the label of the names. So that is super annoying because if you somehow happen to misplace the paper, you know, it's a very kind of tedious process of putting them into a palette, just because you have to be so concentrated and really think about what you're doing. So apart from that, when you're actually cutting off, so the size of these is roughly, so you can see that's the height of it and that is the width of it. So they're not big. If I compare them to these, so they are probably 1/3 of the original sheets or the films, watercolor films. Now, I think they were originally created to color in the black and white photographs, so that's obviously the paint had to be quite strong, so they don't recommend using it on like a printing paper or something like that, because the color gets absorbed. So I'm quite interested to see what they're going to look like, because I have seen a lot of crafters who do use these watercolors just as an option, just to have fun with and just have something different. Anyway, so that was a lot of talking. Now I want to move on and show you the second one as a comparison. So this was the first one, and here is the second one. So I've gone for a lot smaller swatches, and like I said, otherwise they wouldn't have fit. Okay, so oh yes, so here is the color mauve. It looks really interesting. The watercolor here has almost crystallized. It's very interesting. So in terms of you know, the mess that I was talking about before, you have to be really careful and make sure you have a protective mat on your desk when you do this, because there's a huge amount of mess. When you touch these sheets, which is inevitable when you're trying to cut these little pieces, you will get your hands really stained, and even when you go and wash your hands, the dye still stays on your skin. So that's something I don't like. So I would never be able to keep them like this to work with them. So I you know, I can't think of any other way of being user friendly unless you actually create some sort of a palette for them. Now, so then also when you're cutting the sheets, the dye will sort of come off into this sort of like a dusty little pieces or little fragments, which you need to make sure to wipe with like a baby wipe or something, so you don't transfer it onto your clothes or it doesn't fall into your carpet. So this is just a little side note for you, but the level of messiness about these watercolors really was quite challenging for me, but I'm happy I've done this now so that I can actually use them, because they look really rather attractive once they're like this. So the swatches here I will be doing over the titles, just because I have no other space left and I didn't want these to be quite bulky. I wanted them to be quite flat, and that is that. So let's jump into the swatching part. Okay, so just before I start with the swatching, I just quickly wanted to say, in case you're interested what paper I used for this one, which I quite like for this sort of purpose, it's actually this aquarelle block, and it's the 300 GSM, and it's from the shop called Tiger. And it's sort of, it's not the best watercolor paper, but for this type of thing it's really good. And so that's what I use there. Here I've just kind of tried to mimic the brand's logo with just saying that they're transparent, obviously watercolors. And for the volume 1 and volume 2, which I quite obviously messed up a little bit, printing on watercolor paper that has texture, and this is looks like a cold press texture, it will be quite challenging to have a perfect print, so that's why it looks quite messy. But I actually learned to let it go and sort of try to enjoy this handmade look. And in case you are interested, this is the stamp set that I use. I quite like it. I like it for scrapbooking, and I haven't done scrapbooking in a long time, or art journaling, and basically that's the Amy Tangerine stamp document. It's the 40 wooden alphabet and number stamps. The numbers are quite a different style to the letters, which at first I really didn't like, but for this type of thing I like it. It looks nice. Okay, so let's jump into the swatches.